Alright, we need to sketch 5 sine of x and include at least 2 periods of our graph. Okay, so I would go ahead and I do think it's worth some thought into if you're shifting stuff up and down, what's the amplitude, what's the phase shift, horizontal shift, all that kind of stuff before you start, so that you can try to get your units correct. One of the last questions I just did a video for, I said I'm going to call 2 tick marks 1, so each tick mark was a half, so I called that 1 and this negative 1. That's a bad idea for this question because this question has an amplitude of 5, and if I call this 1, then this needs to be 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So much of my graph is just off the page. So this one I'm going to completely change my units here, and I want it to fit on here nicely. So I'm going to say each tick mark is 2. So this would be 4, 6, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6. Okay, and then I'm going to start off with the parent function. So what does the sine of x looks like? So I know exactly what the sine of x looks like, and I can sketch it a little bit quicker. Still worth plugging in a few points though. The sine of 0 is 0. The sine of pi over 2 is 1. The sine of pi is 0. The sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. And then back to where we started. Like so. Okay, and then I guess I can copy this and place it over here. So it looks a little squished, but again, that's because of the units. The increments I'm choosing to use vertically. Okay, now to their question. This isn't my answer here. I want to know what is 5 sine of x. So hopefully you've had enough practice now to know that changing a changes the amplitude. This has an amplitude of 1, which means it goes up to 1 and down to negative 1 if you don't vertically shift it. Or it means that half the distance between the min and the max is 1. And now we're changing it to 5. So instead of going up to 1, in that same location is going to go up to 5. Instead of going down to negative 1, now it's going to go down to negative 5. Negative 1 becomes negative 5. Positive 1 becomes positive 5. And then 0 is still going to be 0. If this equals 0, then this equals 0, and 5 times 0 is still 0. So all these on the x-axis are going to be the same. I'm not shifting it, so it's keeping the same pattern. It's still going up here and down here, up here, down here. But you can see all I did is I changed the amplitude. I changed how tall my wave is. Now the distance between my min and my max is 10, so half of that would be 5, what I want it to be. And I'm going to erase this off here because I really only used it as a guide to help me out. It didn't have anything to do with the question.